The European aviation sector has come together and has launched the Destination 2050 roadmap in February of last year. What this means is, with this roadmap, we are very clear how we're going to get to net zero emissions by 2050 and how to reduce CO2 emissions with 55% by 2030. We'll basically have committed to 4 types of measures to do this. First of all, we continue to increase our investments in new technologies, that is new, lighter aircraft with more fuel-efficient engines. Secondly, and that's the second most important measure in order to reduce CO2 emissions, is the uptake and the lifting of sustainable aviation fuels. Now, the challenge for sustainable aviation fuels is that we simply do not have enough of these fuels available on the European market. And the third measure would be to take advantage and benefit of the more efficient air traffic management system, as we refer to as ATM. We can reduce CO2 emissions by up to 10% if we have the proper ATM systems in place, in combination with very efficient aircraft operations. And last but not least, the market-based mechanisms, economic measures such as EUTS and the global CORSIA will further reduce CO2 emissions. If you take all of those 4 measures together, we're confident and we're all committed as European aviation to get to net zero by 2050. Of course, this challenge is huge. It's not only a challenge from the industry, but also from the entire society. And our plea to governments is to collaborate, to work together, to make sure not only that governments create the right regulatory environment in order for industry to thrive and to make the necessary investments and to uplift to get the necessary scale for sustainable aviation fuels, just to name 2 big examples. But also we need the right policy incentives, the financial incentives from governments, from national governments and from Europe in order to help us to further incentivize the uptake of sustainable aviation fuels and investments in new technologies. Simply alone as industry, we cannot do it. And last but not least, all of us, we need to do our bit, including our passengers, need to be aware of sustainable flying, and so it's a question of working together to make this happen.